Hey guys, it's me, MissDarizard, and it's time for our Week 8 MissDarizard Draft League recap. Let's go ahead and get into it. The first match we're actually going to cover is my match against Pokemon RealTime. This one ends up being a fun little match where we take turns changing the weather and trying to take advantage of the compositions of our team with that weather. Now, while I really didn't have a team set to benefit from sand other than Bishop, who is immune, so obviously that extra chip damage helps. Really, I brought Hippo just to make sure I could counterbalance the Ninetales, because the Ninetales for RealTime can be extremely dangerous once it gets the sun set up, because it gets the boosted fire, it gets access to Solar Beam, it's already got a good speed tier, and then in addition to that, he has Chlorophyll Vileplume, which gets a nice little speed boost from Sun as well. So what you're going to see here is every time he sends out Ninetales, I'm going to make sure I get my Hippo back out there to counterbalance the Sun. And this is basically how the game is going to go for a majority of the game. It's going to be us just switching between Ninetales and the Hippo. Here, he makes a bold decision to leave the Vaporeon in when I click Volt Switch with the Manectric, which ends up, working out for him because he's able to get a burn off on my Keldeo. And then I try to predict a switch into Haunter by clicking Air Slash, because I figured he would expect me to click Secret Sword, but he does not. He leaves the Vaporeon in again. So this time I go into Manectric and I go ahead and just click Thunderbolt to get the big damage off. And I did have my Manectric Scarf, so I was able to outspeed Haunter, kill the Haunter. I could have killed the Ninetales, but again, I need to maintain weather, so I go ahead and switch into Hippo to get sand up, because if I kill the Ninetales, the Vileplume is for sure going to come out in Sun, and that's not what I want. So, like I said, I go into Hippo. I get those rocks up early, that way when he switches back into Ninetales and takes damage, he doesn't get the opportunity to trigger the Sunny Day. Here, he actually brings Drain Punch with Vileplume. Was not, honestly, it completely slipped my mind that it even got that type coverage, so I was not really prepared for it. I was able to kill with Sucker Punch though, and then get big damage off on Mew. Bringing that berry to reduce the Sucker Punch damage was a really good bring for RealTime. And then obviously killing with Aura Sphere, but it wasn't enough as I was able to finish him off with my Rabombi. The next match we'll cover is Okan Alagaz, that's the Atlanta Kremis, versus Frozen Wrath, who is Hoenn Mad. This match starts off with a little back and forth between the Hawlucha and the Dusclops. But the Dusclops is super bulky, is able to be super annoying against this Hawlucha. Get some good chip off here. Okan's just going to keep clicking Sword Stance though, because he really wants to get rid of this thing. Frozen tries to get sneaky and predict the Destiny Bond, but even if Okan would have clicked attack there, that Throat Chop would not have killed. So not sure Destiny Bond was the right play there, but I do like where his head was at. He's really able to basically just 1v1 this Hawlucha. Yeah, I mean the Hawlucha does kill the Dusclops, but gets it in position with Trick Room up where Rhydon's able to come in and kill. But then Gastrodon does huge damage to the Rhydon and then finishes it off. But Frozen was smart, brought that good grass type coverage to get that 4 times effective power whip off on Gastrodon, and then with its dummy thickness eats that Ice Beam like absolutely nothing. Gets fire type coverage to take care of the Escavalier, who is 4 times weak, and I'm willing to bet if it wasn't for this freeze, he was about to click Thunderbolt and kill the Gyarados as well. But fortunately for Okan, gets to freeze, gives Okan a chance to get the attack and speed up. But Frozen, big brain plays, brought a Scarf Toxicroak with just enough speed to outspeed a +1 Gyarados. Really smart with that Thunderbolt. He was really thinking ahead. Really impressive preparation there. Then he goes ahead, knocks off the Roserade's item, then goes into Jirachi for the predicted poison immunity switch, finishes it off, and then from here we're just going to see Serena slowly whittle down the Whimsicott and take care of the Gastrodon. Some really good prep by Frozen here. That Choice Scarf Toxicroak with Thunder Punch single-handedly probably won him this match. Taking care of that Gyarados before it became too much of a problem. Alright, so the next match we're going to get into is Kerfungal. That's the Cinnable Salazzles versus Primarsu. That's the Shadow Kingdom Gengars. Right off the rip, we're going to see Pry reveal Bullet Punch for 4 times effective Bullet Punch to the Ninetales. Ninetales luckily living through it and able to get the Aurora Veil up. Kerfungal then goes into the super bulky Galarian Corsola with Eevee Light, I'm sure. But gets scared off by the Gengar for obvious reasons. Gengar able to hit with Ghost super effective stab. Thunderbolt's Toxapex gets a paralysis, which is, is a trend that we're going to see in this match. Probably getting these paralysis and then actually seeing the Pokemon be fully paralyzed. Jolteon bringing the good coverage though to take out the Gengar. Then Kerfungal going back into the Galarian Corsola to eat that Bullet Punch like nothing. And then basically just wall out the Hydreigon, forcing Pry to switch into Shiinotic. Shiinotic clicking Strength Snap here to get its health back, but isn't going to be too effective long term, mostly because Corsola doesn't have a super high attack stat, but she doesn't seem to care much for that. She goes ahead and puts it to sleep, and then tries to heal some of its health back from this Ninetales. Then Ninetales puts the Shiinotic asleep. I'm actually surprised she leaves Shiinotic in here. And then she clicks Spore. Obvious misplay with Sleep Claws that doesn't do anything. You can't put more than one Pokemon asleep on the opposing team. So major misplay there. But I'm not sure it really would have cost her the match. I think Kerfungal was super prepared for this, and what we're gonna see here is him just go ahead and get this Reuniclus really set up. And we're going to see a pretty long back and forth exchange between the Reuniclus and this Gardevoir. Really, it's just going to be Reuniclus setting up, Gardevoir Thunderbolting, not doing much damage. It's clear that the Gardevoir is either Specs or Scarf. I'm willing to bet it's Scarfed, so it's locked in. And she doesn't want to switch anything into this Reuniclus for obvious reasons. So she just keeps clicking Thunderbolt while this Reuniclus just sits here and tanks it. Even with a crit, takes pretty significant damage. But because of all the paralysis that keeps proccing, Kerfungal's just not able to get much done here. And it's going to be a problem that really prevents him from being able to sweep Pry's entire team with this Reuniclus. We do see her get a couple crits throughout all this, which again doesn't really make a difference. And now that he has his Reuniclus fully buffed, he's going to go ahead and start clicking attacks. Psychic kills Gardevoir, but the Arctovish outspeeds because of paralysis and then gets paralyzed, giving the window that Kerfungal needs, or that Pry needed to basically get rid of this thing, because now Kerfungal has to constantly keep clicking recover, and when you're paralyzed, that's not a winning strategy. So he loses his Reuniclus, goes into Jolteon for the clean switch, trying revenge kill. Pry immediately switches into Shiinotic smartly and tanks that with no problem. But then Kerfungal gets Weevil in, and there's just no answer for this Weevil. He's just going to proceed to just take out the rest of Pry's team with this thing. It's too fast, it hits way too hard. This Weevil has been one of the few good things Kerfungal's had going for him this entire season, and here we're really going to see it, clean up the rest of this match. And Kerfungal's able to pick up the win. A convincing 5-0 win. The next match that we're going to cover in the final match is British Gent, the Belper Bewares, against Riley Brooks, who is the Port Ridgey Pukamukus. This was a really fun match as well. And also the last match, like I said, we did have one team forfeit this week because they weren't able to, they had too much going on. They weren't able to get their match done, and we lost communication, so they took an automatic 3-0 loss. But we were still able to get these other matches here. What we're going to see is Riley able to take out the turtle early, which is really good for Riley, because the turtle is able to set Sun, which is what makes that Venusaur so good and effective. Gallade takes out Celebi, which seems on paper like a winning exchange for British Gent, getting rid of Celebi this early. But then Riley locking himself into Outrage, so Gent's able to protect, make the easy switch in for the immunity switch, get a Hyper Voice off on Pukamuku, and Pukamuku just clicks Toxic, and when you're up against a wall like Sylveon, that's exactly what you want to do. That's one of the best ways to take care of that thing. British Gent smartly, though, bringing Heal Bell and Lapras, which is going to make a big difference because he's able to, you know, heal up the Toxic off of his Pokemon. And then this right here is the big turning point in the match. Riley gets his Lucario out, gets his Swords Dance off, behind a Reflect, so has a chance to really set up. Even with the Leech Seed up, Riley doesn't feel too much sense of urgency. Does click close combat against the Venusaur. Venusaur eats it, able to get some chip damage off, but just gives the Lucario more of a boost because it justified. So Lucario is able to then finish off the Venusaur, and then able to finish off the Lapras after taking some chip damage from Leech Seed, which was smart by Gent to try and stall this out as long as possible. And then this next one right here. Riley really misplays here. If he clicks Bullet Punch, this thing is dead. But for some reason, he doesn't click Bullet Punch. I know in the chat he says he outspeeds, but like, you know Bullet Punch outspeeds. You know Bullet Punch is priority. You know there's a chance Sylveon could have Quick Attack, so why wouldn't you click Bullet Punch? There's no reason not to click Bullet Punch. And he doesn't, and then he loses a potential chance to sweep. What we're going to end up seeing, though, is that it doesn't really matter, as Riley's still able to finish this thing off. The Poltegeist hitting the Glade super hard. He just goes ahead and lets his Poltegeist die, and then goes into Pyukumuku to go ahead and finish this match off. And what we're going to see here is just Toxic Stall finish this match off. And Toxic Stall really seems to be like one of the major win cons for people this season. So that doesn't change here, and that's exactly what we're going to see. It takes a little while. I mean, that's what happens when it's Toxic Stall. Honestly, you know, I'll save you guys the time. Riley Toxic Stalls the Sylveon, and Toxic Stalls the Dragapult, and that's how this match ends. So we'll go ahead and get into the standings now. So the standings have had the playoff picture is becoming more and more clear at this point. We have our first person eliminated. The San Diego Talonflames have finally been eliminated mathematically from the playoffs. So it is to that point in the season where people are going to start clinching playoff berths and people are going to start getting eliminated mathematically. Just to break it down quickly, in the Venusaur division, Miami Manectrix, best record in the league at 7-1 with a differential of 16. In second place, Hoenns Mad. In third place, Port Richey Pyukumukus. And in fourth place, Newbark Normalizers. Every single team in this division is 500 or above, which is super impressive. Easily the best and most competitive division in the league this season. Then the Charizard division is my division. I am top of that division at 6-2 with the best differential in the league at 17. And second is the Shadow Kingdom Gengars. Then this is for Rachel, who took the automatic 3-0 loss this week, so she drops to 3-5 with a automatic 3-point drop in differential. And then the San Diego Talonflames are 0-8, and they dropped out earlier this season. Thankfully, we were able to hear from Rachel actually today, so she is still participating in the league. She just had some stuff come up, wasn't able to get into the Discord, notify anybody. It's really unfortunate that she had to take the loss like that, but sometimes it's just what has to happen. The final division is the Blastoise division. Belper Beware sitting atop that division at 5-2. Right on his heels, the Sunny Day Solar Beams at 4-3. This division could come down to the last game of the season. The Belper Bewares and the Sunny Day Solar Beams actually finished their respective seasons against each other. There is a complete and total chance that their season and who advances to the playoffs is determined based on who wins that game, and I'm super excited to see if that's what happens and see if that's how this is going to play out. In third in that division is the Sandoval Slazzles, and in fourth are the Atlanta Alcremies. The only thing differentiating those two teams having the same record is the differential. Sandoval Slazzles having a bit of a better differential than the Atlanta Alcremies. The kill leader currently in the league is Toxicroak at 11 kills for Hoennsmad. Been really, really solid this year. He's done a really good job getting creative with this thing, whether it's with choice scarfs to outspeed a +1 Gyarados, whether it's bringing mixed sets to keep people off guard, whether it's bringing a special set when everyone expects to see physical Toxicroak. He's just been really, really good about mixing things up, keeping people on their toes, and that's part of the reason why he's 6-2 and why his Pokemon leads the league with kills. And that takes us to the Pokemon of the Week, which is super exciting. Sanoble Salazzle's able to get a Pokemon on the Pokemon of the Week. This is just great. It was Skerfungel's first actual win of the season, not counting the guaranteed one against the San Diego Talonflames. And in doing so, he also gets Pokemon of the Week with the Weevil getting 4 kills, which was a really, really convincing win and good week for the Weevil. So it was super fun to kind of see him have that bit of a breakthrough here towards the end of the season. So yeah, that's gonna do it. So thanks for hanging out with me, guys. If you made it this far, I really appreciate it. For sticking around watching the whole video, feel free to follow me on Instagram, Twitter. Check out my Twitch, which is the same as my YouTube name, MissDarizard. It's twitch.tv/MissDarizard. I stream 5 days a week. I stream Pokemon 3 days a week, so if you really like Pokemon, come hang out with me. I stream Nuzlocke 2 days a week and do a shiny hunt day, typically. And when I'm not shiny hunting, I do some like current gen competitive stuff. So if you just can't get enough competitive Pokemon, feel free to come hang out with me. We're always talking about it. It's always a good time. And that's going to do it for me. So again, thanks for hanging out with me, guys. And I'll see you for next week's recap. Bye.